All right, folks, let's see how this goes. Hopefully it goes better than the last one where I fell asleep promptly. So anyhow, we're working on this guy right here, the Kinderkampfwagen. And this is going to be a bus for Gaslands, a bus type vehicle. Really, that's what I should say it. That's how I should say it. Habit for me to say it's the bus troop type. But no, it's a bus vehicle type. And it's going to have a turreted autocannon, which is going to be equivalent to a minigun. It's going to have a ram on the front and a mine dropper. And it's a bus, so it's got 8 crew members. So plenty of guys to do all that stuff, plus shoot handguns out of it, that sort of thing. I cut some plastic off this morning, off camera, to get this to fit. I originally was going to use these tracks here, but I think I'm going to leave these for something else. We're going to use these right there. Okay, and it is a Mercedes Unimog or something like that. Did you even say Unimog? Yes, Unimog 1300L. So it was originally purple. So we stripped the thing out. We got a school bus. We cut the front of it off. We filed it so we don't cut our, your finger open. This is just going to slide on like this. And this is the autocannon turret from a German armored car. So a couple things that we need to do on it, assuming this is the design that we're going to go with. We need to block off the front of this school bus thing with a piece of plastic card. Something like this. This is the easiest thing to cut, but it is rather sturdy. So I'm going to trace this and then cut it. It's like a loaf of bread or something. It's the loaf of bread's shape. Super handy material to have around. Like little key cards for hotels or anything like that. And of course it ends up on the floor every time because I cannot lean over my work surface. Let's see how we did. It's pretty close. Let's cut it down a little bit more. I think we just have to round these corners and we're good. Let's do what we've been doing, which is shaking this thing up. Let's get Glulandia out here. The land of glue. Nice and gel-like. I think the super glue actually started working a little bit better when I shook it. I never thought about shaking your super glue. I didn't know that was something that you needed to do, but it certainly seems to work better. We'll see if anybody shows up tonight. Oh. Interesting. We're not going to be able to. All right, I might have to cut some of that out just so it can fit in there. Well, that needs to dry anyway, so this will give us something to do while we're waiting on that. All right, let's go get the vacuum cleaner, which of course is nowhere near here. And it looks like somebody unplugged it. It's got all the lights on, so. Some things just hold a lot better charge than others. This doesn't hold a great charge. But like the drill bit thing that I have, I've drilled so many things out and it's still at 3/4 of the charge. I think I might need to get a big, use a bigger drill bit. A bigger bit. Where's that saw, actually? Where's the saw? We'd like to not be done next month. You know, it's being such a pain in the butt when I just didn't need to put it on the bottom. I needed to close this thing up, but not all the way at the bottom. I think maybe if I should have done this before. Shit happens. I've never done anything like this, so I do these really big conversions, and I'm not a conversion guy. All right, the problem seems to be. Oh, I popped it off. Okay, good. So we're just going to. We're going to take this, and we're going to cut that much off of it. Now, we'll attempt to stick this glue back on. And now, does that help our situation? Yes, but it's just a little too big. That's all we want to do. All we want to do is just get it to fit in there. Still too big. Let's cut off this side then. This is what I call the unfun stuff. There's fun stuff and there's unfun stuff. Okay, that works pretty well. Remember, we got the little autocannon turret up there. And I wanted to get some shirts in for this, and I had some shirts in from like a Panzer III that I didn't build. In other words, it was like extra parts that I got from somebody, including some, side skirts for a Panzer III. And I wanted to put those in here, and I thought I knew where I had them. I thought I had them at the workbench outside, and I don't. So I looked through my bag of German parts to grab some stuff out of it, and really didn't find anything very useful. Now I got a bunch of like Pack 40s and things like that, but I don't necessarily want to do that. This isn't necessarily a Wehrmacht vehicle or even a Wehrmacht inspired vehicle. Although it's probably going to be field gray. Not field gray, Panzer gray. It's probably going to be Panzer gray. And I don't have any shirts left in that bag. So I guess all the ones that came with Plastic Soldier Company spoken for. Let me take a quick gander and make sure I don't have them. No, I think I found them. Although the one I had was was painted. This is like fresh off of the kit. Let's see what we can work with anything like that. This looks like it's from an Esche Panzer III. So let's just cut one of these off and see if it works. Something like that, just covering up doesn't need to be spaced, just covering up the side where the bus and the Unimog go together. Yeah, I kind of like that. Well, I'll tell you what, if we don't get any traction, we'll stop at 8. I just figured we need to do some modeling today, or some hobbying today, because yesterday I literally got home from work and went straight 8 and went straight to bed. I got home that late. All right, and I think I want this extending out this way. So I think one of the first things I need to decide on this yeah, and I drilled in through this. I thought I wasn't going to, but figure that way we got a secure turret. You know, we don't have to worry about this thing being all klutzy and falling all over the place. But we got this part that fits and this part that does not. So I'm going to perfect. Perfect. Except for one thing. You put this turret in and it pushes the windows down. Let's go ahead and drill this out. About to pop through. trouble would have made short order of this, but in many cases it's almost too powerful. Okay. Make sure there's no extra tension on there. Let's enlarge it. Now, we're going to put these on the sides. Okay? That'll help with that joint between those two things. So all these things are going to go on here. All these things. We got the mine droppers. We got the glass. It's going to go on there. Let's look through the German pile of stuff and see if there's anything. I don't think I was able to come up with something that was a better RAM than this. Although, I don't know. Let's take a look again. I just kind of did a haphazard look this morning. It's the bag that all my extra German stuff's in. Extra plastic soldier company junk. I want to see if there's any parts that are with the German armored car that might be like a RAM. I'm thinking that there might be. Alright, this is Panzer III stuff. Okay, this is like the little front of the armored car here. It's kind of diminutive though. Let's set that off to the side. This might actually be handy. It's extra pieces to like an ammunition carrier. I'm going to set that. There might be some useful parts in there. And then these are martyr pieces. Man, they give you a lot of extra stuff. I don't want to throw it away. So as far as the RAM goes, that's these two pieces that are going to attach and have this little thing. It doesn't look much like a RAM, but is there somewhere obvious that it could go? So maybe let's assemble it and see if we can get it to fit somewhere. This is the ram portion. I think in reality it's a bullet deflector. I think that's what the real thing is. It's a little bullet deflector. This looks a little bit like, Attack of the Orcs, Not a big fan of that. This is going to go like that. All right. Well, we've got some kind of like brackets. Does these brackets work any which way? And I get really tired of picking every single thing off the fucking floor. Good thing I don't have carpet. It just looks too diminutive. It needs to look like a bam, ram, and you're done, All right. There you are. You finally showed up. Nobody was here. That's fine if it doesn't work for you, Yeah, I had no fun yesterday. I was at work until like 8:30. I think that's the record. And I got home, got something to eat, and it was like time for bed. I was exhausted. Let's see if, what kind of mesh we want to use on this. We want to cover the windows with mesh. I don't know if I want that one or the really tight one. 61 degrees, low of 51. Well, enjoy it. It was like, yeah, it was a long day. It's even worse than that. It was like in 100 and plus weather, and it was so hot. I was sweating so much that like sweat got in my contacts and my eyes were like burning, and it wasn't that bad. My wife brought me dinner, so it wasn't too bad. And like 8 o'clock, I'm like, all right, we got to stop because we probably would have been there till like 11 o'clock at night. So work has just been a raging cunt lately. So no other way to put it than that. Interesting. So if I cover this, wow, how am I going to do this? I think I'll leave the windows not covered with mesh. Because if I cover the windows with mesh, it's not going to look like a school bus. And I do want it to look like a school bus. What time do I start work? I'm there by 7:30. Yeah. It's not really so much like it's a long day. It's more like you don't know how long you're going to be. So you can't plan anything. And I had no idea it was going to turn into that. It was just one thing after another. So Well, yeah, I told the guys in the model group, they're like, hey, wonder what happened to you. I said, I don't plan on ever coming back. Unless something dramatically happens in my job, you'll never see me again. You know, I just have too much to do. I've too much to do, and you know, and a good chunk of the people there are retired, and I'm like, I'm sorry, those of us that are like working really hard and like can't plan. I mean, can't even go on vacation. Like, I'm not rewiring my entire day for people that have freedom of doing whatever. And I'm not saying they don't deserve to retire. Sure, they did the time, but I'm not going to bend over backwards for their schedule. You know. Not going to cater to their schedule. Well, let's think about this. I'm definitely going to put the shirts in on here, just to give us a little bit of a throwback look. But it's going to be Panzer Gray. We're not going to have any Balkan kreuzes or any German symbols on it. It's not that kind of a. But I do want the windows showing because, you know, there are going to be 8 people in it that can shoot out. It's got a crew of 8. I just wish I had another Ram that spoke to me more like this Gorka Morka looking thing. Definitely a Gorka Morka looking Ram. But I think we could make that work. That'd be fine, you know. Now, and this seems to be okay where it is. What am I going to need to put? I'm going to need to put a couple little blocks. Do I have plans when I retire? I don't know. I hope to retire in like 12 years. We'll see. As soon as I hit 67, I don't want to fucking work. Oh, you're going to be bored. Not this fucker. You know? Hey, you can't leave. You know? I've taken one day off all year. You gonna travel all the way across America? Oh, what plans do I have? No, I don't have any plans. I don't have any. I don't have any plans. But I don't want to be one of those people. Well, you know, I'm working because I don't have anything to do. Fuck that. Like somebody at my work, supposedly was retired, and they got back out of retirement, and they said they were enjoying working there. Well, you're a fucking sadist. I don't enjoy working there. Too many fucking problems. I got too many problems I have to solve for other people that don't solve their own problems. It's not like, man, I'm causing all this trouble. I better get a hold of myself and keep it from happening. There's nothing I can do about it. It's going to keep happening. So, well, I think the mesh. How are we going to do this? How are we going to do this? How are we going to do this? I think this is fine there. Do I need any backing behind it? I don't. If I want it there, it'll be able to glue there perfectly. This side, however, I don't really want to travel across America. I mean, I love this country, but the history here sucks. I don't, it's just not the same thing. Gonna retire at 27, 62. Well, you must not be married, no kids. Yeah. Well, like my dad never retired. I mean, he was still doing work and stuff. I don't want to fucking work, I got, people say, oh, what do you do for a living? Well, I'm a doctor. I'm a whatever. I don't I'm not defined by what I do for a living. It pays the bills. That's about it. I'm sure you're not defined by what you do for a living. What are you? I'm a warehouse supervisor or whatever it is that you do. Something like that, you know? This needs to come off also, this little bit. And then we can. I came across some video, and I don't even know what it was. Some AI infused video, right? That it was some make believe person that was basically talking to the audience and said something along the lines. Let me see if I can paraphrase it correctly. It's like when somebody asks you what you do for a living, they're trying to put you in a category so they know how to treat you or something like that. I'm like, you know, I'm shocked. I've never been married, single, no kids, knock on wood. I'm shocked. I don't. So are my friends. They're shocked you don't have any kids? Well, maybe you're infertile. I don't mean that ugly. I'm just, maybe, Maybe you're just doing it right and everybody else isn't. Yeah. I'm not single. I have a girlfriend for 18 years and she's fine not being married? Okay. Well, whatever works for you. Only thing I say, if you don't want kids, don't have them. There's enough people that don't want kids and have them. I wouldn't want somebody else's kids. I wouldn't want to be like, get divorced and then, I have kids and the other person has kids and you got to put up with somebody else's. Dealing with some 15-year-old kid that's living in your house and thinks he's the man of the house, but he doesn't work. Like, fuck that shit. I ain't got time for that. No. It's funny, I was single a long time, but I'm like, fuck, I've been married 25 years. I'm a kept man. She was married, she'll never get married again. Okay. You just found somebody that's like, you don't want to get married? Let me find somebody that's been married and never wants to get married again. I don't know, whatever works for you. You guys basically are married. I don't mean that ugly. I'm just saying, you've been loyal to somebody for 18 years. Most people can't do that. That's a good sign. I don't think people have to be married. Just, be honorable with each other. And that goes with anybody else, like friends and shit like that. Anyways, what I was saying I love this country, but I don't feel it in my soul. You know? And like when I went to Europe, when I went to my country of origin, it's huge. The difference is huge. And I don't think in Spanish. I consider myself American. I think in English and everything. I just speak Spanish as an aside. But when I went over there, I just felt like I just felt something. I felt it, I felt it in my soul, you know, if there's such a thing. It just was different, you know, and yeah, this country's great, but the history here is just trash. Sorry, I don't mean it ugly. It's just. What's this thing that everybody supposedly the rumor is everybody's over here doing the World Cup here in the United States, which I didn't even know the World Cup was here. That tells you how much I'm paying attention to the World Cup. I'm not. But all these people traveled and fell in love with the United States. I mean, there's great stuff in this country, but history ain't one of them. The America has gone 360. Yeah, the people that are here don't like it, and then people from afar do. Right? You know, there's decent people in every country. That's why I have a problem with people. I don't like when people say, oh, the French this or the French that. And I'm not trying to defend the French. But just imagine if everybody gauged the United States by everyone that lived in New York City. I wouldn't approve of that. I mean, I am not a New Yorker by any stretch of imagination. Never will be. You know? That attitude and all that shit, like, that doesn't fly where I'm at. You know, so, you know, let's say you have a bad experience with somebody in Paris and you live in the countryside in France. I wouldn't want to be compared to that, you know? Oh, look at this. Same thing, when I went to London, and I went to London kind of as just a way to get into Spain is at a reasonable rate, you know, because flying into London was a lot cheaper than just going straight to Spain. We spent 48 hours in London, and I liked it. You know, it actually didn't feel that foreign to me. There's a lot of Americanness in London. No, there's just a lot of familiarity. Except that driving on the bullshit wrong side of the street. Yeah, I brought it up again. It's stupid, okay? You guys should fucking learn. But then people that I know said, oh, well, you know, London's not the UK. Well, I'm sure it isn't. I'm sure it isn't, but it's all right. I mean, I'm not a big city person, so, you know, I don't belong in a city of 10 million. You know, that's not me. You know, I'm like 100, 150,000, I'm good. Even when I go to St. Petersburg, it's too big a city for me. You know, there's too many problems, too many people on top of each other, too many people drive like dicks. Like, that's just not my environment. I mean, I don't want to live on a fucking dirt road. No offense if you live on a dirt road. But, you know, that's just not me, you know. Okay, this is pretty fucking good. So I think can I safely glue this down? I'm not sure yet. I want to prime this thing in Panzer Gray this fucker, but there's no point in getting out of order and then having to redo shit. I think we can fire up the hot glue gun. I think that's safe. Yeah, these people are like, oh, America's great. Where the fuck have you been? America used to be better than it is now. Just saying. You know? I'd say America in the 80s is better than it is now. 90s. Or at least we used to think it was better. Now, where the fuck have you been? Oh, we were brainwashed. No, don't listen to the news. I don't care what news source. Don't listen to the news. They're trying to manipulate you for a story. Again, today, I'm looking at, I don't even search on stuff on the internet, but I go on the internet and search something. Here it is. Mainstream media. Oh, there's encephalitis, the mosquitoes. I mean, the media isn't happy. The media isn't happy until everybody is running around like a maniac. Well, I say we all run around like a maniac and go after the media. I mean, they're the ones that are trying to turn us against each other. You know? I lived in a big city, moved to a rural area on a dirt road, only 1,600 people out here, mostly farmlands. You know, I'm fine with all of that. I just don't want to live on a dirt road. You know, it's like I'd never wash my fucking car. You know? Yep, news is bullshit. It is. It is. And like I said, they're trying to manipulate us all. If you just talk to people, even people that you think... Now, there's some people that are crazy, okay? But if you talk to most people, we're all on the same team. 80% of us all are about the same, you know? And it's, you know, it's the extremist people. Maybe 70%. No, maybe it's 60. I don't know. Most of us, we're all on the same team, you know? But there's a lot of us that believe the news or whatever. And it's just like, it's been proven time and time again that they're just trying to get a rise out of us. You know, I'm sorry, I'm too fucking busy. I'm too busy. I'm too busy at work to fucking care. You know. Oh, shush. Thunder Mountain. Okay. So I do want to keep some of the school bus aspect to it. So we're going to put this on the front. These mine droppers, there's not really mines. They look like they're containers of something. That's fine. This is going to fit back here. That can go on there. I'm going to have to prime this by itself because I don't want to cover up the windows. Okay, so we're going to pull this off. And that is not going to get painted. But this is. That's going to get primed. And I don't know what I'm going to do with the turret opening, the hatch opening. I got a turret hatch opening problem. For some reason, I don't have any more of these hatches, but I had an extra turret. So I actually removed the hatch off of a Czech 38 and took the rivets off and think I might put it on here, but it's an open hatch. I don't necessarily want to commit to a certain figure on here. You know, I don't want it to be some German Panzerwaffe guy. You know, it's not a Panzerwaffe thing. It's a bus for the German team. You know, so I was messing with that this morning. This can be primed. The tracks can be primed. But I'd like to kind of get these things glued together so they're not all over the place. That can be primed as well. And then we get to this in here. And I do have a window for it. But I almost feel like this needs to have some kind of like something real here. I mean, this will work on the sides. But then the front, I feel like it needs to have some kind of an armor plating or something. So let's go look at my armor plates and see if there's something we can mess with. Armor plates are here. Well, I got one that I cut out and never used. Not likely it'll fit. What about these guys here? That's not bad. If I got two of those, here's another. Maybe a little bit of plastic card closing that up. Do I have another one? I do. News is bullshit lies. Yep. Okay, I can't put both of these on here because they overlap. What is the overlap like? God bless it, I'm tired of picking things up off the floor. If I put that one here, and I put the other one beside it, how much overlap do we have? Can we cut these things off and still use it? I think so. I think it's worth a try. And I could keep this window here and just use it as a backing for that. I don't want that big cutting board, it's massive. So let's use this. What kind of ancient history I like? Well, to be honest with you, wasn't really into ancient history at all of any kind until I started playing DBA. And then I got to, participate in it. So, prior to playing DBA, which was like the other day, not really, it was 2004, which is still kind of like the other day, I wasn't into any ancient history at all. But the problem with ancient history is there's so much stuff that isn't known. Because either a civilization got exterminated and they didn't have any written language, or something like that, or there are just not very many sources, or you start thinking like, man, because I went in thinking like, World War II, I get annoyed that there's either no picture of something or it's in black and white, and like, man, I really wish it was in color. And then you go and do ancients, and you're like, man, I wish there was any information on these people at all. Instead of speculation and hearsay. I kind of like this as a double vision slot. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from this corner and we're going to taper this. Because it does have a little bit of a taper, and then we'll see how this fits on here. But what kind of ancient history do I like? I don't know. I mean, there's so many gaps in it. I can tell you that I don't like the biblical stuff. I don't like the biblical things at all, because it's just like so little is known, and it's like literally only one source. The Bible's the most accurate source. Oh, whatever, okay? It's still only one source. Whether you believe that or not, it's still one source. So, I don't like biblical stuff. It's hard to get excited about anything like that. The problem with the Romans is, as a general rule, anybody that the Romans fight are less interesting to me than the Romans. There's just nobody that they fight that's particularly interesting. Except maybe Pyrrhus. The Carthaginians, although I'm not a fan of the Carthaginians, without Hannibal, aren't interesting at all. And for not really being interested in history, and not really being interested in ancient history, and not really being interested in Carthaginians, I think Hannibal's the top dog as far as military commanders. I really do. Fucking brilliant, And he had, as far as I'm concerned, a shit army. That didn't even get along with each other. So, but so little is known, and it's from sources that are just like only on one side. So, but the other reason I don't love ancient history is I'm about uniforms, and there's a lot of it is just haphazard for ancient times. The Romans had stuff that, they had the thing the closest to the uniforms, but everybody else just, it's just kind of random stuff. Okay, that fits on there nicely. But we're going to need a backing on it, so we can just keep that window and use it as a backing. Okay, and that actually looks pretty good. Now on the sides, so these are legit. On the sides, we got these things. And that almost fits exactly right. So I'm going to cut these ends and see if we can't wedge it in there. I can tell you what kind of history I don't like. I don't like history. It's about like barbarians that are all kind of generic and the same. Like in history of Britain, just doesn't fucking interest me. You know, not until like the Normans attack. Okay, but after that, before that, you know, it's like these Ugg guys versus Ugg guy. I'm not British. You know, there's no love there. It's not like I have a something there that I gravitate towards. Ancient Rome is a wired history that was more violent than anything else. There's a lot of stuff in ancient Rome that we would recognize. You know? About the only thing I don't like about the Romans, I shouldn't say that. That's not how I meant to say it. One thing I don't like about the Romans is they basically just took Greek stuff and made it better. You know, they were like master copycats. But it's like, I mean, super, uber political. It's like that part's unattractive to me. You know? That's one of the things I always hated about American history. It's like there's not enough wars and stuff, so we got to study laws. Like that just doesn't interest me. You know. Okay. I think that one's okay. And we can glue that plastic in. I'm not concerned about that. Where's the other one? Where's the last one? I tell you, I don't like the fucking Mongols. Fuck those guys. And I'm not even Russian. Fuck the Mongols. Well, that fits in there well. Let's take a little bit of this. I don't think the Romans were any more violent than anybody else. I really don't. I really don't. Ah, Snapdragon. But I find the Romans interesting before Augustus. After Augustus, don't really care. You know, Imperial Roman and those weird ass fucking emperors. You know, I can count like 3 of them on one hand that were in a total weird sack. And they probably all were, but not a fan of the Roman Empire. I think we can glue this in place. I really think we can. But I think to do that, we need to glue the window in place. And in order to glue the window in place, is there anything that this pushes back on? No. We can probably put some hot glue gun right here. The Holocene area is interesting. It's when humanity came together. Wow, I'm going to have to look like cavemen crap? I don't care about cavemen. I like dinosaurs, but not raptors. Fuck that shit. I'm not into dinosaurs. See fucking raptors. All right, how do we hold this in better? The Holocene area. It's when humanity came together. Some people call that Tuesday. Or whatever day of the week it was. I work with a guy. And we were talking about dinosaurs and that kind of shit. And he's like, oh yeah, well the reason they're extinct is they didn't fit on Noah's Ark. And the guy's like legitimately like thinks, I mean, at least he's convinced himself that's the reason why. And I'm without missing a beat, I'm like, well, what about the water dinosaurs? What, they got too much water or something? He'd probably say something like, well, that's why it's called faith. And it's like, yeah, well, that's why I don't have any. I don't believe in that shit. Too much water for the water dinosaurs. Holocene. I think it'd be fun to have kind of a. You could do a caveman game, right? And we'll call it caveman. You know what I'm talking about, right? So you could have, all the different homos. What are you talking about? Homo habilis and I don't know, Homo sapiens and Neanderthals and that kind of stuff. It could be pretty cool if you did it right. If you did it wrong, it'd suck. But that kind of goes without saying. I think we're ready to. Mastodons and you can play with a little of the timeline. So you could have like mastodons and freaking woolly mammoths also in it. I don't know if both of them were around at the same time. I honestly don't remember. But, you could tinker with it, like you could put like Stegosaurus and T-Rex or whatever it is together. You could play with the timeline a little bit. What's a few 100,000, what is a few 10,000 years in between them? Well, they make rules for that. I think the game is called Tusk. I don't know if it's worth a fuck. It's, but they do make rules for it. That follows the last glacial period. Yeah, talk about nothing being written. Okay, so this is going to fit here. But I have to paint this before I put the glass, or it's gonna take me forever. I'm gonna have signed up for something that was unenjoyable. Yeah, the guys that who's the guy that makes it? That's a really good sculptor. Copplestone Castings. Copplestone stuff looks great. I don't know what scale they're in. They're probably 28s, but that'd be fun. What'd you paint today? I painted a Boluchitherium. That'd be cool. I don't know. I don't know if Boluchitheriums were around at the same time that people were, but like I said, you just have to play with like 10,000 years or something like that. Wasn't anything like really really big difference, but like that's more having people against like saber-toothed tigers and mastodons and woolly mammoths and Boluchitheriums and what other kind of things that were around there. The big battle sloth, whatever the hell it's called. That's better than like people versus a T-Rex or some shit like that. It's like that ain't gonna fly. That's not flying. That's not flying in my boat. We'll have none of that. We'll have a big helping of none of that. I wonder if they found Boluchitherium in Baluchistan. That would make sense of its name. Baluchistan is a province of India. I believe it's over on near the Pakistani border. T-Rex would win. My favorite predator was always Allosaurus, and the reason why it was is because I had this this picture book, and I actually found that. I don't remember what it's called, but I found it online. It was this picture book that I had as a kid, and it had this really cool drawing. It's from the 70s, maybe even early 70s, of this Allosaurus that was eating a carcass. And the Allosaurus was red with like blue stripes. Of course, we don't know what color the stripes are in dinosaurs. It's just complete conjecture. So, I don't know if conjecture is the right word. I probably shouldn't use vocabulary words I'm really familiar with. What's that mean, boy? Complete guesswork. But I always liked Allosaurus. I bet I could find that on Facebook. Let's see if I could do this. This should be easy to find. So I'm going to go on Facebook. I'm going to go to my page, and I can do a search. And I'm going to do a search for Allosaurus. There's a skeleton of the okay, here it is. I'll read you this thing. This is from 2019. All right. As a child, the first thing I ever remember was being into as a child, the first thing I ever remember being into was dinosaurs. In the mid 1970s, we didn't have all the special effects, etc., that are now common in movies. Any dinosaurs we did see were lame at best, unless they were in books. I no longer have these books from my early childhood, but I've since been looking for one, in particular, which had two illustrations that were very memorable, even though I did not know the name of the book. After doing an extensive Google search over the last couple weeks, it took forever to fucking find this. I have happened upon the illustrations I was searching for. The book was called Animals of Long Ago by Raymond Jones. I was always fascinated by the red allosaur in the illustration, even though it's probably not accurate. He's fucking cool, man. He's like red with like black or bluish type stripes. And then there's another one. Here's the dinosaurs that somehow didn't make it on the ark, but they're water dinosaurs and didn't make it. Anyhow, yeah, I freaking love dinosaurs. I got one painted. I was gonna make a dinosaur battle game. I actually have a set of rules like that, Yeah, it's really dated, but, there's a lot of stuff we don't know. And sometimes, here's the problem with scientists. Uh-oh. You're going to go on scientists? No. I'm going to treat scientists like the media. Too many people are scared of saying, I don't fucking know, when they don't know stuff, right? Like I should say it all the time. Like I don't know. I can't be an expert. There's a lot of stuff that I do know, but there's a lot of stuff I'm not an expert on. You know, because I don't want to tell people, hey, this is how it is, and then I'm wrong. So it's just you can't be perfect. Too many people are like, oh, I can't make it sound like I don't know everything. Well, why not? None of us know everything. But these scientists they got a hard on for the stars, right? Oh yeah, this little thing there. Oh, we're sure it's 120,000 light years away. You have no idea how fucking far that is. That's unfathomable. So I don't worry about that shit, You can't even tell you what kind of shields the frickin' Romans had. Or what color they were. I want to see how they're painted. Oh, we don't know that. Well, that was yesterday. Or a few minutes ago when you're talking about, the difference between that. So scientists like to be so sure about stuff. Just, you don't know. There's not only is there stuff you don't know, there's stuff we're never going to know. I think there's stuff you're never going to know. You could die and still never know it. Like, there's just some stuff that just you're never going to, there's just unfathomably you're not going to know. And a lot of people are like, man, I got to give an answer or I'm out of a job. Like the people that started human sacrificing. I always wondered, like, oh, we got to do this blood sacrifice. Why? Well, if the sun won't rise. Well, the sun's always risen. So, like, are you unwell? That's the one thing. That's the one thing I always have a problem with religion is about sacrifices, right? So, say you believe in some God. Doesn't matter what God it is. You believe in some creator, something bigger than you, somebody that something that created all living things. It could be one God, it could be multiple gods. Oh, we're talking about religion. Not really. Okay? We know more about space than we do at the bottom of the ocean. Then that's fucking wrong. I mean, first of all, the ocean's a lot more interesting. Yeah, but you're right. You're right. There's all kinds of stuff like, I always said if I had some superpower, I wanted the superpower of like pumping all the oceans out. You can move the creatures over. It's not like we want to kill all the creatures in the ocean. It's like, let's see what the fuck's down there, man. But let's say you believe in some kind of creator. And you want to pay homage to this creator because, you want to be a good lemming, right? So you're going to sacrifice. You're going to do a sacrifice of a living thing to a creator. Well, don't you think that would be like the worst thing you could do? Instead of being thankful for this higher power that created all these wonderful things on this earth, including you and all the creatures, you're going to murder some of the creatures in this thing's name to honor this thing that created them. That's like you coming over to my house and it's like, you come over to Tony's house like, Tony's a really good painter. We should have a party. And you start taking the stuff that I make and break it on the fucking floor. I've never thought about that, but that's a fucking decent analogy. I'm not great at analogies, but we'll go with that one. That's not what I would want to see. I'm just saying, that doesn't make any sense. Don't come over to my house and break the things that I created. What makes you think that I would like people that broke things that I made? So sacrificing of human things, I don't care. I am against it. I am dead against it. You know, unless you're going to sacrifice like child molesters or something like that, you know. Not cool, you know. So the jury's kind of still out on whether the Carthaginians actually did or did not. Oh, did I fuck up something fierce? Hold on. We can fix it. A sacrifice human would be a sin in religious belief. It doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense to me. I have a major fuck up. So one part of it above the slot is a little thicker than the other ones, and instead of using the same one I used, again, I got fucked by the mirror image. Tony gets fucked by the mirror image. Take 3, you know? So this one, the fat one, is towards the bottom and the thin to the top. I need to adjust that so that it. Let's see what it looks like. These are made by a bunch of criminals, anyways. Maybe we'll just leave it alone. All right, yeah, I'm gonna have to change it. God bless it. Okay, so how are we gonna change it? Well, find out which one has the biggest angle and keep that one. That one's pretty severe. So we're gonna have to flip this, cut this even, and angle this one over a little bit. I think I fucked this one up. That doesn't mean I can't use it for anything. I just don't want to use it on here. So let's see if I have another one. I hope I do. I do. All right, let me not be a tard now. Those mirror image things always screw me. All right, so this one is curved there. So this one is going to be thin part towards the top, right? And then we will angle that over. And this one goes even. Now see how it fits. Well, that's the thing why, you know, I wouldn't hunt. And I'm not a gotta save the animals kind of person. I mean, I don't want to hurt the animals, you know, but if like a dog is attacking my daughter, I'd kill it and every other dog that is around. Sorry. I wasn't looking for problems that came to me, you know, but I don't hate animals. I just like too much. I just like too many vegetables and bread. You know, Reaper miniatures make cool dinosaurs and creatures too. Yeah, they have a. I haven't really looked at Reaper miniatures because you know they do fantasy stuff. Do they already come pre-primed? You know, they're like cast in white. They make a lot of cool stuff. It's just stuff that you know I'm not interested in, or I don't think I'm interested in. The plastic dinosaurs, the toy dinosaurs, man, they paint up really well. I mean, they're like Hot Wheels. They got great details on them. You just don't think, it's just a kid's toy. It looks really good. They look really, really good. That one dinosaur that I bought like in a 3-pack for like, I don't know, $8 or something like that. The Stegosaurus. Whatever scale it is, it's not really in a scale, but I guess it'd be close to 1/35th scale, something like that. Actually has really good detail on it. Yeah, there's a store in the next town south that is a big gamer store, and they have a lot of Reaper things. A lot. Pre-primed, yes. Yeah, they have a lot. Um, I think this looks pretty fucking good. I think that looks pretty good. I mean, it needs to look a little badass, but I still want it to have a school bus look. You know, so I want it to be recognizable as a school bus. And then we have this autocannon up here. I think it looks pretty decent. I just don't know about this Gorka Morka spike thing, you know? But I don't have another RAM right now that looks more appropriate. I went through all of them. Don't they have a thing called like Bones or something like that? Reaper Miniature has like a bone subset. Let's look at images. Yeah, I guess the good thing about Reaper is they are game agnostic, right? It's not like, oh, well, you're using a Games Workshop thing, and Games Workshop doesn't allow that or whatever. Well, that's the one thing about fantasy miniatures is they make a fair number of miniatures that are attractive. I'm just saying. Um, what's their website look like? God, I wish it wasn't 28 millimeter. I honestly have never looked through here before, ever. ReaperCon. I had a couple of their paints, and I wasn't a huge fan of their paints. They didn't suck. I just wasn't a huge fan. They're very similar, like the Army Painter paints, and they might actually have a common ancestor. They have a search say here, but not okay. Metal figures, Dark Warlord, Pathfinder, plastic figure, Bones plastic. That's what I'm thinking of. Bones plastic. Race. See, that's race, not oh, you're African American. That's not a race, okay? We're human. That's why it's called the human race, right? Race is like, are you human or a dwarf or a fucking elf, right? I'm not sure I like their search system, or maybe it just sucks on the phone. They make it Krampus. Yeah, these look really good. Yeah, they look really good. Reaper Bones. War Mammoth. God, they're expensive. Well, you look at something like it's $37. It's going to take you a long time to paint it. It's not like, oh, it's really expensive. Well, you're not going to paint one a day. You know? Bones is a competitor to Reaper. Okay, it's on their same website. Reaper Bones. Yeah, see? I honestly haven't looked through any. Maybe the next time I go to that store, I'll look through them. I'm not going to buy anything. I got good self control, but I don't mind looking through stuff. And the people that paint that stuff are super super talented. It's just I just think history is more interesting. That's like this. I'm playing this game, but the teams I'm doing are based in this world. You know, They all have, countries and stuff like that. Most people probably aren't doing that, but that is how I want to do it, Oh, I don't even remember. Man, you got me running my mouth so much. I don't even remember gluing this on here. Good job, my friend. Okay, we'll put a splooge there and a splooge there. And we're going to learn from our own mistakes and make sure we set it evenly. I don't know, say you Panzergray or Dunkelgelb? Panzergray is just so much more iconic German. And this turret would look weird in Dunkelgelb anyways. So we can't close this down, which means if I glue this, I probably shouldn't glue it to that piece. I should probably glue it here. That's going to sit like that. If I glue this here to the bottom, it's still going to be spaced. Well, what did I say that was funny? I appreciate you coming on, man. You saved the day. I go on here to, get stuff done. I don't care if anybody watches it. I mean, I'm glad you guys do, that somebody finds some entertainment value in it. But I found that this is the easiest way for me to get stuff accomplished and stay on track. Is to, just film this, this bullshit session, so to speak. Okay, there's a big ass fucking gap here. Can we do something about that? Well, if we glue this here, and I'll be damned if it doesn't fit almost exactly. Let's put this down. And then when we glue this, it'll be like that. And then we've got these little mine droppers. And then we've got this. Here. I think I need to remove these two. I think I need to remove that one and that one. And then when I remove it, I'm still going to be able to paint underneath that. That's good. So I can go ahead and glue that. Like that. Okay. And likewise, this one will be here, and we'll remove these two. Like the same hobbies you do and everyone else. Yeah, well, it's, the cool thing about historical stuff is you get to learn about real things, and then you get to put your own spin on it, right? I mean, you don't have to paint things realistic. It's up to you. And nobody should care that you do it. Like, I want to paint, something, it's therapy. And I don't mean that like I'm a maniac that I'm going to turn into an axe murderer, but, work's kind of a cunt, and we need some levity. Some people decide to drink. I don't think alcohol solves anything unless I could drink at work, and I can't. So, This just provides some form of entertainment, and everything is good here. I'm going to take this little thing, but this is going really well. I don't necessarily have a plan for this. You see, this looks kind of lame and not very Germanic, or not very So then you go and you put stuff like this that's obviously shirtson of some kind, and now it looks a little more. Now it's still kind of hard to tell because you got all this dissimilar color shit going on, which always kind of works against you. So I think we're going to remove this. This isn't going to be glued down until it's painted, because we have to paint this and then put the windows inside. I want the windows frosted, but I don't want them to be, like overpainted. Oh, yeah, you have to stay there for a second. All right, and we're going to super glue this down, attaching this all on this edge right here. So I'm not going to just apply this directly, because then you got a lack of control. Hey, Hoffman, you had a fallout with alcohol and drugs and don't care about any of that shit. Yeah. Well, I don't want somebody telling me I can't drink, okay? Because it's part of my culture. Well, you got a culture of alcoholics? You fucking know what it is. It's just one of those things, you know? And, but I don't care if I ever drink again. But I don't want somebody telling me I can't have a drink. And I behave better when I drink than when I don't. I don't understand how alcohol can be addictive. I don't. It's not in my DNA, I guess. Maybe I just haven't had I haven't had a rough enough life, I don't know. I think in 32 years, there's only 2 days I've had a drink after work. And it didn't make it better. Well, it did. It did at the, it did at the time. I stopped thinking about it, stopped caring, but drugs, never done any drugs. Never done any drugs other than, Advil. No, never saw the appeal. Never hung out with the cool kids that did drugs. Drugs weren't that big a deal. Drugs weren't a big a thing. I think they're bigger now than they used to be. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I kid my daughter. My daughter knows more about the drugs than I do. I don't know shit about drugs. Everything I know about drugs, I learned by watching Narcos Mexico. I just don't see what the point is of not being in control. Like, let's say you're tripping on something. Whatever you're experiencing is not really what's going on. So, it's just fakery. So I just don't see what the point is. All right, now there is going to be one little wrinkle. I'm going to have a hard time seeing when this is lined up. There we go. Should be even with the top here. And then this little fucker. Can I put this thing in already? Man, it almost fits in there without being glued. That's pretty amazing. I wish this didn't look so Gorka Morka, the front of this. It's the feeling people get from alcohol that's addicting. People who actually become alcoholics have some kind of trauma they're using alcohol to cope with. If I go on vacation, yeah, I will have a beer. It just got boring. Well, I couldn't imagine. I don't want to sound like an alcoholic, but I don't do this often. But fishing, I don't want to go fishing and not have a beer. It's stupid. You know, I don't want to go to a dry wedding. I don't want, like, hey, we're going to go dancing. Not sober, I'm not, you know? Yeah, well, everybody's addicted to something. Food, it's food for me, you know? Everybody's addicted to something. I don't know. What do you think? You think this looks pretty decent? I think it'll turn out okay once we get out of the whole fucked up 50 colors kind of thing going on, because there's all kinds of dissimilar bullshit going on there. Dissimilar bullshit. Let me get some more tea. Hoffman, I was trying to look at that. I had a hell of a last couple days, so I didn't look in detail a lot about what you said if I had bought it again, but I'm like, what am I looking at? Because there's so much flash on that. Is that like a barrier wall or something like that? And when you were doing that, I remember that you're doing Gaslands with like 1930s and 40s vehicles, which is kind of cool, you know? So yeah, you're looking at vehicles that, it's not that I'm not looking at them, it's just they're more period specific. Actually, one vehicle that's out there that would be great for your time period is that one that's like that long limousine, whatever the hell it's called. It's something Screamer. I got one of them. This thing would be freaking great for the 30s type of. Let me see if I can find it. I think she's on top here. This thing was freaking crazy. Crazy in a good way. Good crazy. I thought the KEI van was Korean, but I guess it's Japanese. Oh. Maybe I shouldn't have suggested something that I'm not sure I'm going to be able to find quickly. But something like this would work. I mean, that's like 1940s. What is that thing? It's a cool fucking car. It looks like it should run with Cruella. I don't know where the hell it went now. I got too many vehicles. You know which one I'm talking about. It's like almost like an Italian roadster stretch limo looking thing. Oh, I better not put that there. If that hits the ground, I just threw away a lot of time by organizing that. He's in the beer come. It was fun and funny. Get the Well, my daughter's now 21, so now when we go somewhere, we have a beer and we all share it. And everybody can drive. And you have one, so it's kind of cool. It's a barrier wall, but it's flexible. It's what caught my attention. Do a lot of shapes with it. You're doing the pre-war stuff, but also do regular Gaslands because the cars are too cool not to do. Yeah, just about all the cars are cool. I was watching a couple of videos the other night where these addicts, because there's addicts, okay? I have a lot of cars, but I'm not an addict because, well, we're creating stuff with them. We're not just like taking them out of packages and putting them all over your room like you're a hoarder. And these guys that order cases at a time and don't even know what's in the case, that just feeds into people being gamblers. And I don't have the gambling gene. I'm more of a drug addict than I've never done drugs than a gambler. I mean, and I watch this, these guys, and they're really interesting. Some of them, it's kind of like ASMR for me. Oh, what's in here, and and they talk about all the things. So it's kind of cool. You can see like what things are coming out, but. And I've seen these other things about these guys that go and they scalp all these models. I'm just, you know, I'm not going to get up at fucking 6 o'clock in the morning and lay siege to Walmart just in case that they gotta, like, if I really want something, I'll pay $25 for it and get it. The one day whenever I get that Godzilla, that I don't even know which one it is. R32, R33, or R34 Skyline. That has one of those that has the Godzilla on the side. People are wanting $25 for it. I'm like, fuck it, I'll pay $25 for it. But I'm not going to do it until I get it, and then we'll do that one, if I really want to. So, you never post on your channel for. I didn't even know you had a channel. Well, I can tell you. Oh, an idiot can have a YouTube channel, and I'm not saying Justin's channel is an idiot or that he's an idiot. I'm just saying that I'm not computer savvy because they keep moving the football, and I've managed to do something with this. I guess it's entertaining. I got a message the other day from a guy that I played quite a few games with. Well, I didn't play a lot of games with him, but every time I played with him, I had a really good time. He was really good at explaining stuff. And he just passed away recently. And he's a few months older than I am. And I know he'd been sick for a while. I don't know exactly what he had, but it was just kind of sad. He was a fun guy. I always enjoyed playing games, and he did a good job of explaining games. I think that's something I actually am really shitty at. I don't think I'm good at explaining stuff. I just, if I have an outline, if I go through the trouble maybe, and but I don't do well at explaining stuff. I just don't. Maybe other people disagree with me, but like if I have to explain to my wife what happened during the day at work, I'm terrible about it because I'm jump all over the place, and I don't understand. I'm not really good at figuring out what point I should start the story. Keep an eye on that Godzilla car. People have been saying it's out. If you see two, I'll trade some 3D printed stuff for it. No, we're not going to the fucking post office. Neither one of us. They're out to get us. Is there a new Godzilla? I'm talking about the old one. I'm talking about the old one that's there. I mean, it's old, but it's not even 10 years old. Hot Wheels Skyline Silver with Godzilla. Oh, I guess there is a new one, and here it is. But this isn't the one that I was looking at. Oh, it even says it looks kind of lame. I mean, a Skyline. What's not to like about a Skyline? But these things aren't even that fast. They look like they're fast, and they were fast for their time. This one right here, this fucker right here. This guy wants $40 for it. Well, the reality is if I want it bad enough, I'll fucking get it. But I don't want it that bad. I have a way of making sure I don't want it that badly. This one. That's awesome. That's awesome. It's an R34, by the way. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I thought there was a thing on Oh, and it's out of stock anyways. I think there's a thing on eBay where it's like search other things like this. I I think of all the times of all the cars that I've bought off the rack and all of the places that I've gone, like brand new, like at a Walmart or a Target. I can't find shit at Target. Oh, Walmart, any of those places, Dollar General, Dollar Store, or Dollar Tree. The I've only found one Skyline ever, and I'm probably gonna strip it because it doesn't look great in the color that it's in. It's like dark blue, and it's got. I want to say it has one of the logos for one of like the tuning places, like HSK or something like that on it. I only have one Skyline. You know, usually have to stay with a post faucet, but I have to go in 2 weeks to ship your grandmother's Scotland package. I think that Godzilla cars in their premium car section. I don't know what they're called, but I'm talking about the $7 ones. Oh, okay, okay. So it's a premium. You know, $7 isn't crazy. The problem is, it's like, oh, it's $7 and it's $7 for shipping. It's like you start like, I don't want it bad enough. I don't want it bad enough. I'd rather have, I'd rather buy. I paid $10 for my car, or as close to the car as I can get to my own car. I think that's more. Because I like the Z's too. I got a shitload of Z's, and done one. No, we're just floating around. It's not like I'm. It may take me a while to get to them, but I think I'm going to get to them. I mean, this is. I'm having a lot of fun with this. So. I just don't know what about the turret. So, I don't have a hatch for this turret guy. I don't know how I have this turret, but I don't have a hatch for it. So I took one of the Czech 38s and cut it even so it fits in there. But it's got an open and then took the rivets off because this thing doesn't have a shitload of rivets, and I think I can glue that, but I don't want an open hatch because I don't want to have to commit to what the guy in the open hatch looks like. I'd rather it be closed. So yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I may just put another piece of plastic over that's similar in shape and call it a day, and that would probably work. All right, so this can glue right here. If I do that, it's going to be on a very limited area. What can hold on to. You're paying for shipping. I try to buy multiple cars from the same buyer, so I'm paying. Exactly. Yep. I know they make a big deal out of this Prime Day. I've never found anything worth a shit. Or maybe I just don't really need anything. It's true, I don't really need anything. Fortunately. There's nothing I gots to have. This will be the little mine droppers on there. I don't usually put something that looks like a dropper when I have a dropper. I don't think it's necessary. I'm going to go ahead and hope for the best here. I bought Torpedo Jones and Mo Stash. I didn't know about the Prime Day. Hopefully I didn't miss any resin sales. It's several days, and I think the first day was I don't know. May have already stopped. It may have already stopped. Well, I don't know why I'm thinking it's 22 through 26. I don't know. I just looked at it last year. I'm like, oh, I'm going to get all kinds of deals. And it was either things I didn't want or it wasn't that big of a savings. It was like, Prime Day Doorbusters is here. Okay. I don't need a blender. I don't need, Prime Day. Yeah, these are Apple Watch. I don't want an Apple Watch. I don't need a Samsung Galaxy. You know? I don't need a Kindle. None of this is stuff that I need. So if I go on here and say 1/64th, okay, RC riff. I mean, I don't need anything. So here's a diorama kit, okay? I probably should fucking get one of these. Okay? A Hot Wheels model scenario display case. Okay, so it's like a little, like a, what do you call those things? Like a place for put your cars in. But you look at something like this, all right, and it's $14.39 instead of $17.99. So it's not a huge savings for something I don't really need. So you can save even more money by what? Not fucking buying it in the first place. If it's something you're going to buy anyways, sure. But, I don't need this. I don't need this. We know some folks that are addicts to buying shit. They have all kinds of stuff that they bought, and they never opened it. I'm kind of the opposite. Well, we've all bought things and gone like, why the fuck did I get that, right? And hopefully you learn from that. You don't waste your fucking money. But oh, by the way, speaking of wasting your fucking money, here's the dry brush things came in. Are these the same ones? These. Man, I feel awfully girly using these. Are these the right ones? Professional makeup brush set that perfectly matches your beauty. What's the worst thing that can happen? I threw away $7, and these are going to be at least as good dry brushing as the brushes I'm using now for dry brushing. I'll guarantee you that. That's the same package? Okay. Let's see what we got here. No, what I just said. These are going to dry brush at least as good as the ones I have. So, that's fine, What the fuck do you use this thing for? Maybe the girls can use that. Well, what the fuck am I going to use this for? This weekend, I need to make a butte. I need to make one of those something out of styrofoam and cut it, just to see what it looks like. So much fucking packaging. Okay, well, next time we do some dry brushing, we're going to use these guys' happy asses. They're awfully soft. They almost feel like a cat. They're made of cat, well, I hope not. If they are made of cat, I hope the cat was a dick or something first, not just grab random, pets. It's kind of leaning back a little bit, isn't it? Yeah, I guess it is. Oh well. Why are you cat people upset with me? I wouldn't, I'm not for hurting pets. You know, they have a nice feel to them. Well, I'll have to try one of them on me later and see if I agree. Yeah, baby. Oh man, I love it. It's what I needed yesterday, man. I literally I left work at 8:30. I got home and had to eat. Next thing I know, it's 9:15. I'm like, fuck this. I'm going to bed. I did. I went to sleep like before 9:30. I was exhausted. I was out in the sun all day. That'll freaking. That's like going to the beach. It'll freaking bake you. It bake your brain. I don't know. Does this look stupid? The front of this looks stupid? It's probably too early to tell because of the color variations on it. This is extra pieces from a Hasegawa kit, a Panzer IV Hasegawa kit. And apparently these are pieces that go with the ammo carrier for the mortar. There's like a big mortar, like it's about this big. It's like a 15-inch mortar or something ridiculous, right? Maybe even bigger than that. Maybe it's bigger than that. And there's a little schlepper, an ammo schlepper that's based on a Panzer IV that comes in that set. And when I get the Panzer IV sets from Hasegawa, which I have two of. I have a Panzer IV F1 and a Panzer IV F2. They came with the extra hole of this, I guess, because it was on the same mold. They just figured they're gonna print it, So I've got this. This is a Panzer IV-ish type hole, but obviously it's solid. So I may use this as the base for some German tank or something. I've got lots of Panzer III turrets from Plastic Soldier Company. But no Rommel box for it. And I don't know how I have so many of them, but, make some make-believe thing. They'll probably work. But I don't really want any Wehrmacht-looking guys. These guys aren't World War II guys. They're not Nazis or, actually they're criminals. They're much worse than Nazis. What are you saying? Nazis are good? No, I'm just saying these guys did really bad stuff. That's why they're in this death race, Yeah, once you prime it, that's when you can really tell. And I still want this to have the school bus look. Because you're like, oh, why are you calling this a Kinderkampfwagen? And then you look at the back of this, and it has an iconic bluebird back. And you're like, oh, yeah. Oh, and we're not going to paint it like a bus. It's going to be Panzer Gray. So, this, I'm not sure what the hell that is. This is some kind of vent. And a couple of vision blocks, looks like, or something like that we could use for other purposes. So I'm going to take this vent off and see if I can fit this somewhere. Maybe on the front of that, maybe in the front of here. Well, the only problem with doing what I'm doing is I'm not being really time efficient. But I don't really have a purpose. I don't really have a time frame that I have to get this done by, right? Like, I'm just kind of putzing around. Like, oh, I wonder if this looks good. Oh, I'll cut this down. It's like... I don't have a mission. This is not coming into conflict with my mission statement that I don't have. So you weren't here when I talked about the build. So I built it. So it has tracks, but it's not tracks. Because as soon as you have real tracks, you have to pay for them, and it's going to slow you the fuck down. So you lose a gear, but you gain one die you get to roll. Well, it's whether it's a heavy truck or a bus, it's going to be maximum gear of 3. As soon as I put tracks on it, now it's maximum gear of 2, which is slower than a tank. So I'm like, it can't be that. And besides, it's not fully tracked, right? So the tracks are just for look. That makes it the conf part, you know? So it is a bus, which is going to have a handling of 2, that's 2 dice, maximum gear 3. That's plenty fucking slow. As a turreted minigun equivalent, right? So that's 15 points. The bus core is 30 points. But it's a crew of 8, hence all the windows. And it has a ram on it and a mine dropper. And that puts it at 1545. 50 points. So it's a 50-point vehicle. Like the Butcher is. So that's one of my other categories. Yeah. So yeah, it's a bus of unusual size. Because my other bus is a 35-point bus. And it's smaller. Like, heft-wise, it needs to be like a 50-point vehicle. Like, it's hefty enough to look like that. So, it's going to have a ram. It's slow. It's got a lot of guys that shoot pistols out of here. It's got a fully turreted, what is it, 66, 46, 5d6, something like that. Plus, it's got a bunch of other guys who can shoot pistols at people. So, Kinderkampfwagen, there's going to be a bunch of kinders in there. A bunch of 17-year-olds that are delinquents. I thought about making it an ice cream truck, but that way you could play that annoying jingle. We just go around going, you know, the one, that little tune from Cross of Iron, over and over and over and over and over again. But I don't really want to make it World War II-ish. Do the handguns do anything? It's medium range, 360-degree field of fire. So medium range is about like this. And each one of them is a D6. So, yeah, if 8 of them open up on you, that's 8d6. That's fucking nasty. That's really, really nasty. But you got to be relatively close. But it is 360-degree range, so, you know. I want to build my double-decker bus, but I think it's cost prohibitive as having double the crew. So it can have 16 crew members. But just doing some math here, if a bus, I think I'm still going to do it anyways. Because, I mean, it's 2 fucking decks of people, right? How many decks does that have? 1. All right. So a bus is 30 points and has 8 crew members. And if you want to add a maximum number of crew members, I forget, is it 4 points a guy or 2 points a guy? Extra crew. 4. Yeah, see, that's the problem. If you do 8 more, you could double the crew. They start with 8. That's 32 fucking points. So you haven't even used the 3 build slots, and you're already at 62 points. I'm probably still going to do it at some point. It's going to be some massive vehicle, because it's just a different way to play that thing, you know? Yeah, I have several of them. I have several of them. But, yeah, the boom bus has that sonar blaster, that ECM basically, and 8 guys that are, but it doesn't have a RAM or anything. But it's nasty. 8D6 is nothing to scoff at. But again, the range is small, is short. It's called medium, which is about that far away. But it's in every angle. It's not like, if this wasn't turreted, I'd rather have a bunch of guns that can shoot at 360 degrees than somebody that can only shoot, one base width out and then just to the front. So, all right, what else do we have? This thing here. Are we going to put this like so? Hear that? That was a June bug or something. Trying to get in. Oh, this might actually fit okay with a set of cables. All right, well, what if I reduce all these pieces? Where's my Tamiya clippers? Ben was recommended a video I should check out. Sorry, Ben, you're not on here right now. I don't know if you'll hear this later. I'll talk about it later. But Ben recommended a video about all these tank parts that they used in building the Millennium Falcon. And the original Millennium Falcon from, Star Wars. And it literally in this video talked about what parts they used from... And a lot of them were like German Tamiya parts or something like that. Or ones from Bandai kits or something like that. And I never noticed any of them while watching the movies. And after they pointed them out, I still don't notice them. So they did a really good job of kind of hiding them. But there's like a Jagdpanther's hull or something like that, and like part of it, I'm like, what? I don't even see that, I don't even see that. Again, what's the thing I hate the most about this hobby? You just burn through time. Like, this is like a great hobby if you had a life sentence. Ben needs to send me that video. I got to get going. I'm tired. I'll catch you later. I'll send you the link. Okay, so we could put this little plate here, has that wire, or does that fit kind of flush? Yeah, I'm probably going to get going soon. I need to be in bed at 10. Yeah, but we're making progress. It's looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. Just putzing around. We'll figure it out eventually. All right, folks. Thanks for stopping by.